Fly away home, little butterflies, fly away home.
Hi everybody, Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is vlog number 35 for Monday, September the 11th, 2017. So I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I hope if you lived in the hurricane areas in the United States that everything turned out okay for you. And yeah, what more can I say about that? Makes me really glad I live here where I do. So, getting into current projects. All right. Now, I've reviewed this young man's website before. It's Tanner Bell, and Tanner Bell is running an online course. It started last week for the Cricut Maker. Actually, his course will work with any of the Cricuts, I think. I debated on whether or not I was going to sign up for it. It was like $27 American, so about $35, $36 Canadian. I consider myself a power user of Cricuts, and I didn't think I would necessarily learn anything more from it, but you know, sometimes you do. And he's very well versed in how the Cricut products work, so I thought, what the heck, I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to take the course. I've done the first 6 lessons. He's setting them out, a section of them each week for the next few weeks. And although most of the stuff in the first bunch of lessons were overviews and general kind of things about how to use your Cricut, I did learn a couple of things that I didn't know before. So there you go. You know, never say never kind of a thing. And he's pretty good at making the videos. Besides having a very bubbly and enthusiastic personality, he does know what he's doing, and he's able to conduct his lessons in a very organized fashion. So yeah, I think it was worth the investment. So I'm looking forward to the next set of videos, which should be released, I think, today. So I'm also signed up for a course. Well, actually, it's one of the Craftsy courses. And if you've never done anything with Craftsy, I highly recommend them. They vary in price depending on the kind of course you're going to take. They're all online, but you can do them at your own pace, at your own time, whenever you want. And once you've purchased the course, you have access to it for the rest of your life, apparently. Well, I have a serger that I inherited from my sister-in-law, and it's been sitting next to my sewing machine and not really used it because I didn't know how. And there was a course on using basic serger techniques. So I paid for the course. It was on special, actually. I think it was half off. And it's been really good. So I've been doing some work with my serger. Now, it took me 2 hours to thread the stupid machine because my machine is relatively old, and new machines have easy access and automatic threaders and all kinds of things like this. This one doesn't. So it took me a while to figure out how to thread it, and then it took a while to get it threaded properly. I wasn't getting the product from it that I should be getting from it, but I finally figured out what I did wrong. And once I did that, hey, this is fun. So I want to build my way up to learning something called a rolled overlock or edge or something. Because I want to make my own napkins. Yeah, okay, I know that sounds like a pretty simple project, but considering that I don't sew, that's major for me. And the reason I want to make my own napkins is because I use a lot of napkins, and mine are getting kind of worn and stained to the point where I can't get them clean anymore. So it's time to get some new ones. And everything I look at in the store is expensive for nothing. And I really don't want to spend like $20, $30 for 4 napkins, and I don't want white anymore because white stain way too easily and just after a few uses start to look really dingy. So I do wash them between uses, okay, just to let you know. So I want to get my own material and make my own napkins, and then I can pick whatever color or pattern that I want, and away we go. So I'm going to learn how to use the serger. Let's see, what else did I do? Okay, last week I showed you the technique that I did where I took some embossed water color paper, and then I used those new paints that I got from Indigo Blue in the UK, Luscious Pigment Powders, and went all over them. And they're shimmery and look really pretty. Well, I die cut butterflies from those, and here they are. This is actually Tim Holtz's die for the butterflies. And the die has two types of butterflies. One, I'll show you the back. One that looks like that, and then the one I have on top here, which is a little smaller. Sorry, drop that. A little smaller. And I just layered them together, and I think they turned out quite nice. And one more right here. So yeah, sunlight's coming through. Now, I'm taping this a little bit earlier than I usually do on Mondays because I had to take Walter to the Honda dealership. He had to get his car serviced. And that was a fun trip, I can tell you that. The main route, the main commuter route, and we went at commuter time, which isn't great. And when you're retired, you're not used to that. And all the traffic lights were down and not a cop to be seen anywhere directing traffic. So everybody was coming to these major intersections and basically playing chicken, because even though laws of the road tell you what to do when the lights are down, people seem to panic and not remember what to do, to treat it like a four-way stop. And so cars were going every which way. So every intersection you came to, you had to be very, very, very careful. And not a cop anywhere. No. Maybe they should have thrown a donut out in the middle of the road, and maybe we would have got some cops there. Sorry if I'm sounding a little negative towards our police force, but you know, it's my tax dollars at work, not. Anyways, that's not what I'm pissed off about this week, although that would have made a good one. Okay, what else did I do? Well, did some art journaling. I used my, I think this is Dina Wakely's journal. It's the one that has all the different kinds of papers. It has burlap, and it has craft, and it has linen. And I haven't used this one much, mainly because some of those substrates I'm really not sure how to use, but I pressed on and I created this page. And I love the colors in it, and I think it turned out really nice, and I got a lot of texture. I used the oxide inks, but what I did was on this page, to get this texture, show it a little bit closer. I don't know if you can see the texture or not. That's actually torn up and crumpled coffee filters, new coffee filters. And then you stick them down with matte medium, and then I went over them with the oxide inks. On this page, I used fiber paste, and I just spread that over with a knife, excuse me, and again, the oxide inks on top of it. So I think these two pages turned out quite nice. So I'll probably be using this journal a lot more. And then on the weekend, I did my art journal class that I give once a month, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. I've got a little clip to show you too from that class. And here is what I created during that class. I've really gotten much more into collaging than I ever did before. And now I'm sort of on the quest to get more ephemera packs, because I really like doing this kind of work, the collage look. Okay, so that's the art journals. And then I created a bullet journal. Now, I don't know if I'm really going to use this a lot, but I saw people are making them. They seem to be trendy, so I thought I'd give a try at making my own. So here it is. And what I did was I took one of my jelly plate prints that I had laying around, folded in half because it was 8.5 by 11, and I'd happened to have done both sides of it. Just took some scrapbook paper I had, tore it, inked the edges, got one of these Tim Holtz phrases. There's another set of those butterflies, but flattened out, that I just showed you, that I had done the embossing and then the Luscious pigment powders on. And then I took this, I folded it in half, but then I put it through my laminator and creased it. So it's got a nice plasticized cover on it to protect it. I added an enclosure, which is one of those elastic, what do you call them? It's not an elastic band, but it is elastic band, but you know, elastic gold thread kind of thing. Added some beads. These came from one of my trips to one of the flea markets. Put those on. And I've set this up like a Miyadori. So to bind the pages, I'll just show you the center here. I have rubber bands. I have 2 rubber bands in here. And so I made 2 sections to fit under it. One, now I went to a site called 101 wait, it's on here. 101planners.com. Yeah, so if you want some pre-formed sheets, and they also have an app on the site where you can customize your pages any way you want. And then you can download them to your computer and print them out to your heart's desire, and you can add color to them and things like that. So I printed out these 2 and I put them through my printer. This side says projects and plans, and this has sort of a weekly to-do thing. And then I made another section that's just sort of note paper. And they both slide in here, and because they're on the rubber bands, you slide them underneath. If it fills up, I can take some of the older ones out and then put in newer ones as I need them. I sort of decorated the rubber bands up with some little pieces of ribbon just to give it a bit of a flair. I put a pocket in the front and in the back, and these are just CD holders that you can buy. They're sticky on one side, and I don't know, it seems to be coming up. Maybe not that sticky. And just stick a pen in there. Actually, I have 2 pens in there, so I've got a pen with them all the time. And then this just wraps around, find the hole, just like that, and holds it all together. Now, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to end up using this very much, but I love books. I love making books, all kinds of books and journals and things. So that's why I made this. I didn't do a video on how to make it because it's pretty straightforward. Maybe I should have, but it was one of those spur of the moment things I thought I'd give a try, and when I do spur of the moment, I forget to film sometimes. So anyways, we'll see if I use it or not. Okay, so what's the YouTube channel of the week? Well, this is a commercial channel, and I don't often review commercial channels. And this one may be one that you're familiar with because this is a company that's pretty famous out there, Heartfelt Creations, but I thought it was worth reviewing. This week's YouTube channel is Heartfelt Creations. Now, this is a commercial channel, and I don't usually review commercial channels, but I know a lot of people are into card making, and especially this time of the year, a lot of people are probably planning their Christmas cards. So Heartfelt Creations specializes in products for making really beautiful dimensional cards. The videos are very slick, of course, because they are for a company. This is a very well-known company, and their products are of very high quality, and they're also fairly expensive. But the end result are beautiful cards. I get a lot of ideas from them when I watch these videos, and although I don't necessarily always use their products, I can still adapt some of their tricks and techniques to my own cards with my own stash of supplies. So that's Heartfelt Creations. You probably know about them because they are a major company. However, if you've never seen their videos, they're worth checking out. So, as I said, I get a lot of inspiration from that. They do have nice products, and when I used to work at the scrapbook store, that particular scrapbook store has probably the largest collection of Heartfelt products in the province. And so I was buying a lot of them at the time when I was working there in the store. I've kind of slowed down on that, although there's a couple of new products they have out right now that make tunnel books or tunnel cards that I kind of want to get my hands on to try. But, you know, after a while, they focus a lot on flowers, and I've got enough flowers. So I kind of eased off on buying their dies and their rubber stamps. But they are a quality product, and if you've never heard of them before, do check out their website. do check out their YouTube channel as well, because they give you lots of ideas, even if you don't use their products. Okay, I do have the link to Heartfelt down below for the YouTube, and I also put up, last week I did another video on making a simple mixed media abstract card. And the reason I did that is because I'm actually going to be teaching that as a class later this week at the art gallery. And more about that when I get to that part. Okay, so let's move into what's pissing me off this week. All right, this is kind of like an extension to what I talked about last week about produce departments, grocery stores, things like that. This one, though, is about mall shopping. On the weekend, Walter and I went up to a very large mall that's west of us in a town called Vaughan, which is north of Toronto, and it's called Vaughan Mills. It's huge, and it's touted as sort of an outlet mall as well. There are some outlet stores, but they have regular stores in there too. But it's very, very, very huge. And with a huge mall that size, and it's a Saturday, of course you're going to have huge crowds. And you do. And you expect it. But come on. Really, it's the people in these malls that do the stupidest things. All right, so first of all, let's talk about getting around in the mall. Okay, it's huge. There's a lot of walking to be done. But why do people insist upon walking, holding hands, 2, 3 abreast, down the center of the walkway and just meandering along? Is it necessary to be holding somebody else's hand? Sure, if it's a little kid, I can see that. You don't want them to escape. Brings me back to my comment about harnesses, okay? But that I made in last week's vlog. But it's, you know, those loving little couples there. They just can't get enough of each other. They got to hang on to each other, like, because they're so light. A stiff breeze coming down through the hall might blow one of them away. I don't know. But they're so in love. Isn't that nice? And they're holding hands, and they're taking up a lot of space, and you can't get by them. What's worse is as you try to get by them, they don't walk in a straight line. They zigzag. So I try to go to the right, they go to the right. I try to go to the left, they go to the left. It just gets weird. And then they dead stop. And if you're not paying attention, and you should be paying attention, you ram them right up the bum, right there on the spot. Then you get a dirty look. I'm so sorry. I mean, I didn't see you stop. Actually, why don't you put on your 4-way flashers when you're going to do that? But it's just not the couples that do that. There are these other people that are window shopping, and they have to stop, but they, instead of moving up to the window of the store, they stay right in the main way, the pathway, and stop abruptly. Then they start, then they stop. Then they start, then they stop. Reminds me of the traffic I was in this morning taking Walter to the Honda dealership. So it's like a horrible Congo line dance, you know. 2 steps up, 1 step back, 2 steps up, 1 step back, cha-cha-cha, kind of a thing. Well, I didn't come to the mall to dance. And then you've got the baby carriages. Oh my gosh. The baby carriages, the strollers. You know, and these things are huge. These are huge. You can get 12 kids in one of them. I remember the day and age when strollers were just basically a little basket on wheels. They're not that anymore. They are huge. They have levels on them. They have pockets galore. They have a trunk. I mean, the only thing they lack is a motor. Really. That's all they lack. And these people that are pushing them are not paying any attention. They're looking this way and pushing the cart. They're looking this way and whatnot. And the next thing you know, you're wearing a baby stroller. It's right on my heels. You know, and in this time of the year, I'm wearing sandals, so it gets a little rough on the heels as well. And they just run right into you. And the thing is, they are so oblivious because they can't see over these monstrous things that they don't know they've hit anybody or anything until whatever they have hit is halfway under the damn carriage. Some old lady's legs, they're hanging out. It's like the Wizard of Oz and the house has dropped on her and the feet are there, kind of a thing. Help me. Just oblivious to the whole thing. But what's even worse is Then they take those carts into the stores. And these stores today have aisles that are this big around, okay? Just like the grocery store. You can't get anything down them. They're single lane only. And there they are trying to negotiate this thing around corners, around people, especially in a busy mall. You get run over. Your feet get run over, you run into it, you're about to come around a corner. Good God, there needs to be stop signs on all the corners because you need to stop, look left, look right, because you don't know when a baby carriage is going to take the right of way and just zip right over you. Every time. And then what's even worse is you get two of them. And then they create gridlock because they can't figure out how the two of them are going to get down that aisle. One's going one way, one's going the other way, but they won't fit. And they stare at each other like, duh, but I want to go this way. But no, I want to go that way. Oh, what are we going to do? Somebody back it up and let the other one through. Eventually they do. And of course, this is Canada. So in Canada, we all go, sorry, excuse me, sorry, excuse me. So all you hear is the sound of baby buggies bumping into everything and people saying sorry. There's a lot of that, okay? Well, I guess that's okay. At least they're being polite about running you over. Yeah, so these malls, I swear they need to have a day where it's only like one day. This is Women's Day. Only women are allowed to shop here. This day is Men's Day. Only men are allowed to shop. And one day where there are no kids. I would go for that. Because that's the other problem within the mall, are kids. Kids think of a shopping mall as their personal playground. They are up and down and all around. They're jumping on. You're in a furniture store, they're jumping on the couch. You're in a dollar store or a Home Sense or a Winners, and they're picking at everything. You're in a store that has magazines. They're leafing through them, throwing them over here, doing everything. Where are their parents? It's almost like the parents have gone off to shop and said to the kids, we'll meet you back here in an hour. And then, of course, then you have the older ones, the teenagers. They've got their iPhones out. They've got their earplugs in, or those big ones they use that are so 70s. I had a set of those in the 70s, but I guess that's all back in fashion now to wear these things, look like Princess Leia in Star Wars with your buns on your head. And they're oblivious to the world because they're buried into their cell phone, Like, what do people have to talk about in a mall on a cell phone all day long? That's not just the teenagers. Lots of adults doing the same thing. So you've talked about distracted driving. How about distracted walking? Because then you hear, again, bang, oh, I'm sorry, oh, sorry, bang, oh, I'm sorry. Again, oblivious because they're so buried into their technology. But the teenagers are all there. Now, there used to be a problem in our area with teenagers in shopping malls, and what they decided to do to scare them away, and this actually worked, is they would play opera music at all the mall entrances really loud. For some reason, the kids, it was like a repellent. They wouldn't hang out there because of that music. Today, that's a few years ago. Today, probably because everybody's got a cell phone and they have music on it, they probably just have their headphones in, and if you played the opera, they wouldn't hear it anyways. So anyways, it's always an event to go to the shopping mall. And oh yes, there's one store at this shopping mall I have to tell you about, because this is for rednecks. It's called the Bass Pro Outlet. It's a huge chain that sells all kinds of outdoor gear. Half the stuff is in camouflage. I don't know about you, but when I see people wearing camouflage clothing, I want to walk up to them and go, I can still see you. But then why does somebody need a smoker that's in camouflage? Why? Are you going out into the woods to smoke your meat and you don't want anybody to see it? I think the smoke would give it away, really, but whatever. But they've got some real rednecks in there. One guy ahead of me, when we bought a pair of shorts, I bought a pair of shorts, Walter bought a pair of shorts in anticipation of when we go to Australia. It'll be warm, so we needed some more shorts. And this time of the year we're moving into, in Canada, to the fall, so suddenly you're not going to find shorts anywhere. You're going to find parkas. So buy them now when you can get them. So anyways, we're in the checkout, and there's a guy ahead of me. He's got a whole package full of targets, 2 boxes of 22 shells. And, you know, you're thinking, so I guess your weekend's booked. I don't know. I don't like guns. I really think that guns shouldn't be sold. People talk about hunting. Nobody needs to hunt. Nobody needs to hunt at all. Okay, sorry, that's another pet peeve, I guess, or another pissed off moment. But nobody needs to hunt in this country. We may not be that long out of the woods, but we can go to the grocery store. You know, if you're hunting and it's for sport, you're killing animals, not into that, okay? And don't give me the idea of this thinning out the herd kind of a thing. But anyways, yeah, the rednecks were there, you can see. I mean, where else can you go and buy live bait and bags of ice right next to the smokers, barbecues, and the camouflaged t-shirts? Really. So anyways, that's what I'm pissed off this week. Shopping malls. Actually, there's a lot of pissed off things in there this week, wasn't there? Not a happy person. Not true. I am. Okay, moving on to product reviews or things that I've got this week. Here's something. Now, be careful. I don't want you having rude thoughts. I've used it. Okay, what is this, you may be asking? It's by Vicky Bouton, and it is a blending tool. I saw it at the store, and I thought, well, I have been using her, as you know, her crayons, and I thought this might be good for blending the crayons. No, it's not. Now, she doesn't claim this is for the crayons. I looked up her videos, and she was using it with her paints, with her acrylic paints. But I thought I'd try it with her, and that's why it's purple. I thought I'd try it with her crayons. No. But with paint, yeah. It's basically a very elaborate cosmetic sponge that you can get a package of 24 at the dollar store, as opposed to $6.99 or what I think $5.99, something like that for this thing. But if anything, it's a conversation piece. What else did I get? Oh, I'm dying to use these, maybe later today. These are called texture stamps, and they're meant to be used with your jelly plates or your gel press to add texture. And you can see a picture here. This is what they look like. They look like a rubber stamp, basically, and I'm pretty sure you could probably use them as a rubber stamp. I haven't tried them yet. I haven't taken them out of the package, as you can see. But I bought 3 of these to give them a shot. This one is all these lines. This one's a bunch of words. These are meant for backgrounds. And this one, of course, is a bunch of scripty butterflies, because you know how I am about butterflies. So they're going to be fun. Try those out. I got this. Haven't taken it out of the package yet. It is the We Are Memory Keepers Washi Tape Chomper. And it basically, it shows you on here, it allows you to put your washi tape in and cut, you know, like for banners, flag kind of things, points and that idea. Now, really, you can do that with a pair of scissors. But it's another machine. It's another toy for me. So that's why I bought it. How often I'm going to use it? I don't use up washi tape that much. Maybe I'll use more washi tape if I use this. Maybe. Doubt it. Got some stuff from Mike Deacon. I love Mike Deacon's stuff. I really do. These are his latest stencils. I've already used this one. I used it on that page in the art journal that I showed you earlier in the background. And this one I haven't used yet, but that looks like fun. I buy all of his stencils. I have them in a separate storage unit as well for those. And then he's got his laser cuts, and I'm all about laser cuts. 2 things I'm really all about these days. Laser cuts like this, the wood pieces. I've been starting a collection of those, or things done in chipboard, because I like to use them on mixed media pieces. And of course, ephemera, which for art journaling pages and things like that. This is my new craze. Remember how I said I wasn't going to buy a lot of stuff again after I decluttered my craft room? Yeah, not sticking to that very well. Okay, let's have a little sip of coffee here. Now, the other thing that I got, which was a complete surprise, and it cost me nothing, and I was so excited to get them, is on Sunday I was at Class Act, which is my local craft scrapbooking store, as you know. And I was setting up for my class, and I went down into the basement to get another table with Carol, the owner. And Carol had just moved from her old store into the new store, and she had a pile of stuff still that she was going to get rid of down in the basement. And she said to me, "Oh, by the way, I have these 2 paper racks here, you know, the commercial paper racks that you see in scrapbooking stores for displaying paper." And she says, "Do you want them? Because I'm just getting rid of them. They're going in the garbage." And I looked at her and said, "Are you sure?" She says, "Yeah, you can have them for nothing. Just take them away." And I went, first I thought, I don't have any room in my craft room for these things. But then I thought, I have always wanted commercially made paper racks. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. I'm taking these, I'm getting them in the car one way or the other, and away I go. And I did. No problem. Got them in the car, got them home. And I'm going to insert here a little video clip to show you what I've done with them. I made them work. So Carol, the owner of Class Act in Oshawa, asked me when I was setting up for my class if I would like these old paper racks. And I said, well, yeah, of course I would. Of course, once I got them home, I wasn't sure where I was going to put them, but I found a place. So here are all my paper pads. Well, not all of them. I have a few more than that, but I couldn't get them all into this rack. But now at least I can see them and know what I have, and maybe I'll start using them up a little bit more. And this is in the annex. And I also have an 8.5 by 11 paper rack, and that's in the other room, and I'm going to show that to you so in just a second. And this is the 8.5 by 11 rack. And so now I took all my colored cardstock off a shelf, and I've put them all into this rack here. It looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And that gave me some more shelf space. I had to move my Project Life stuff over to this corner, but it fits there okay, so that's fine. So yeah, so this was great. Thanks so much, Carol. I really appreciate this. So, pretty cool, eh? Now my craft room looks sort of like a store. Of course, I have enough stuff to open a store too. All right, so what's next on the list? Ideas gleaned from YouTube this week. Got 3 ideas for you. Idea number 1. What does it say? It says, emboss in watercolor cardstock, then cut into blocks and arrange to create a card or art journal page background. Okay, so I can't remember whose video it was, but they were actually taking, they make background, backgrounds on cardstock, and then we're cutting them up into squares and rectangles and laying them out on the front of a card. And I thought, that really looked kind of cool. So I'm thinking, you know how last week I showed you those embossed watercolor pieces that I made the butterflies out of eventually? Well, I'm thinking using the same kind of technique, doing watercolor on them, but then I'll cut them up into blocks that can all fit onto the front of a card. I might even try cutting them into random kind of pieces and fitting them together like a mosaic. I think that could look really cool. Second idea, I've got used textured wallpaper samples to create jelly plate prints. All right, I went to the jelly plate, Jelly Arts is actually the name of the company, their website. They always have great ideas for what to do with their jelly plates. And one of the things we were doing was taking samples of wallpaper that had texture to them and pressing those in to the paint on the jelly plate and then pulling up a print. And they were using metallic paints as well with them. So you got a really neat metallic, almost looked like a sheet of metal, of embossed metal when they were done. So those little plates I showed you a moment ago, these things, okay, work probably about the same way, but I actually have some wallpaper books, sample books that someone gave me a long time. Sorry about the noise on the microphone. I pulled it. I actually have some of these, so I'm going to give it a try. I think it could be really cool. And then another technique I saw was create a faux metal embossed background by adhering leftover die cuts and die cut waste and string and ribbon, etc. to a substrate, then paint with metallic paints and use metallic rubs. And basically this creates this faux metal look. I think it was Julie Fafane Balzer of Balzer Designs on her YouTube channel that she was doing this. And she took these random cuts left over from something she'd cut with her brother's scan and cut, glued them to a base, to an actual wood base, and then she painted them with metallic paints and then added some rubs and things to them and gave them like a sort of a metal look to them. And they did. It looked like embossed metal. So I thought that might be kind of cool as a technique for an art journal background, or even for a canvas piece, a mixed media canvas piece. So those are 3 ideas this week. I throw them out at you. As you know, I may or may not do them or get to them, but I'm sharing those ideas with you. Okay, so I do realize that my vlogs are becoming a bit on the long side. Someone mentioned that to me on the weekend. What's my answer to that? I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy making these vlogs. I'm hoping you get something out of them. And many of you have written me very kind comments about them. So I'm going to go with the kind comments. And the other thing too about them being long, you can always fast forward through them. You don't have to sit here and watch every segment of them. And I kind of keep my segments the same, in the same order each week. So, you know, you have a favorite segment, you can kind of speed search to that section as well. No, I am not going to put down the exact timeline because that takes more time, and what's the fun? The fun is in exploring, okay? All right, moving on here very quickly. What happened in the past week? Had RMG Friday on Friday night. I was a solo there. Walter was at a retirement party. Brand new installations, didn't know anything about them. Only one section that I did know, although some of the things in the other ones I could talk about. So I did do a couple of nutshell tours with some people and talked around things. It was an entertaining evening, as it always is. So that was that. And then, of course, yesterday, Sunday, I did my monthly art journal class, and I have a clip to insert here for you, just to give you a small taste of what my ladies are doing. And I call them my ladies because usually I have pretty much the same group, give or take 1 or 2. They're becoming very popular though, and although I do them on a Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4, in October, my junk journal art journaling class that I'm doing in October is sold out. So we've opened up a morning session now from 9 to 12. So we'll see how that goes, and if the demand is there, then I guess instead of half a day, my art journal classes are going to be full day. So here's the little insert for you to see. Here's everybody at the art journal class that you know that I teach once a month, and actually they teach me, I don't teach them. They always come up with things that are better than this thing I shall show them. So look at them all, busy, busy, busy here. This class we were using water-soluble crayons. Sally, of course, will be doing her own thing because Sally does her own thing.
I did everything in water-soluble crayons.
Oh, did you?
Everything.
Yes,
I
she
even
did.
edged the wrist pieces.
Wow.
See, all crayon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, you see, they do it better than I do it. I told you.
I don't know about that.
Joan's playing with her little birds. And you're using gelatos, aren't you, Joan?
Yes, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are good. I gotta get mine back out and revisit that. Gina, you're colorful. So should Paige.
Decided to go bright.
And Joanne, too. The scribble sticks.
But I like what happened to it.
So do you like them?
They're okay. Yeah.
They take a little time to get used to, I think, but I think they're okay
I mean, I started
with that.
drawing and then I had to look at it since June.
And then you have full color. What are you doing to yours now?
What am I doing? I am putting paint on my texture paste stencil things here.
Okay.
So I got stars or flowers, depending on what you like and where your brain is.
Well, I never know where my brain is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're pretty. Very pretty. I love those colors.
We're trying to take everything out of the drawer and use it
Yeah.
once, you know.
Yeah,
Well, haven't I used that one
Well, we
yet?
spend all
Okay.
this money on stuff and then we never use it.
Exactly.
And Lena, our new one, here, this is her first time at our class. And she's doing a beautiful one, too. Yeah, oh, crap. I'm not going to show anybody what I'm working on. Bunch. Jeez, it's always... Well, hurt my feelings. Okay, so you got a little feel for my class. And let's see what else. Oh yes, I told you that I have my an RMG art class. Did I tell you this? Yeah, I told you there's a video about this, but I am doing on Thursday an art card class. And there's a video, and I've got it linked in the notes below so you can see exactly what the project is that we'll be working on. So that's the week as it was. And just as a final note, of course, today, September the 11th, 9/11, is you know, kind of a sad day, because we all remember what we were doing in 2001 when the terrorists hit the towers in New York and the Pentagon and out in Pennsylvania, wherever they did that. It still has ripple effects to this day on everybody, so it makes this day very somber, as does the whole thing in Florida with the hurricanes. So I just want to say to anybody, that's my American viewers especially, we feel for you in this country, for everything that you're going through right now with the weather, and for everything that you went through in 9/11. And you know, if you lost somebody, that's horrible and whatnot. So we're sending positive thoughts your way and thinking about you on this day. Okay, so I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.